What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. So today we have a actually surprising VR game that I really was not expecting to be kind of as fun as it was, and we're going to be popping out a review for Bean Stalker VR, which is a RPG fantasy dungeon crawler, but without the dungeon, and you're actually scaling upwards on a beanstalk. Yes, it's a interesting concept indeed, and it actually delivers kind of nicely here. So with that being said, make sure you guys do drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm bringing a ton of VR game reviews and other VR related content. So for everything VR, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and hop on into our content section. So with our content section here, what are you actually getting in Bean Stalker VR? Now, this is actually interesting. So if you go on Steam, the game is $29.99. So kind of steep. And you're thinking, when you look at this game, you're like, I don't know, man, that's steep for a game that, you think's in early access. Here's where I'm going to tell you that there is a lot of content in this game. I'm actually impressed with what is in this game. I really wasn't expecting it. When I saw the price initially, I was like, this is one of those games where they're trying to get a lot more out of it than really is with there. And I actually disagree a lot. I was pleasantly surprised. It took me about 4.5 hours to just complete the first beanstalk, and there are 3 of them that is currently in the game, and they're planning on adding a 4th one. So you go ahead and do that math. It takes you about 4 hours, and believe me, it took me 4 hours, and there was still stuff I didn't explore. So you could spend a lot more time on just one beanstalk, and the difficulty on the second beanstalk got significantly harder than even on the first one, so it's going to probably take me even a little bit longer to complete that one. So there's well over 10 hours of content in this game. So yeah, you're paying $30, but you're getting well over 10 hours of content, and I say well over, definitely. Other things in this game. There's a lot of stuff to craft in this game, and it's truly a gathering crafting type of game, and you actually, pound your hammer on a table to craft the items that you want. You have to craft ammo for your weapons. You have to craft melee weapons. You have to craft resources, craft health resources. When you actually go to make the stuff, you actually are using a forge where you're throwing wood in to fire it up, and then you're throwing your ore in to create your ingots, and then you're going through the whole process of creating stuff. It feels so satisfying. It's like a true crafter, and then you're actually going out into the game world to actually obtain these resources to craft, and your backpack only has so much space. So when you go out there and you fill it up with the right materials, you have to get to the extraction point, or if you die, you lose everything. So there's a lot of elements going on here. So again, it doesn't appear like, okay, well, I'm just climbing a beanstalk and that's it. There's so much more. There's gathering. The beanstalk actually kind of gets difficult as well. And that's another thing that, really surprised me about this game. I wasn't expecting the difficulty level to be kind of as hard as it was. There were times where I really was frustrated because I just kept dying. And the hard thing is that because it's such a vertical RPG type, you can't really see what's coming sometimes. Like sometimes you swing over onto a stalk, and then there's something that is shooting fireballs at you, or it's closing in on the stalk. There's a vine plant where it just grips the stalk, and you just start losing health, or you go into a certain area, and a small fungus thing just jumps out at you and just scares you, and then hits you where you least expect it, or an eagle comes and gets you. Like you're just not prepared for the stuff that happens to you. So like it does get challenging. And then there was a really nice, cool boss fight with nice mechanics at the end of the first beanstalk, and I'm assuming that's going to be the case with all the beanstalks moving forward. I'm really excited for. I got into the second one before with enough content to feel like I could put a review out without jeopardizing the actual content of the game. So I haven't even completed the second beanstalk yet, or let alone seen the third one. Really excited to do so. This game's actually really solid. There's a lot to do here, and there's like a ton of different weapons. There's secrets in the game where you can craft secret keys to unlock secrets. There's a lot here. So for $29.99, I think you're getting a pretty fair deal here on the content. I think there's definitely enough to go with, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other caveats in this game as well, because I think the sense of adventure is very, very high in this game.
Toxic level dangerous.
So when it comes to our overall sound design here in this game, I have to say, man, this game nailed it when it came to sounds. I was so pleasantly surprised in this game. You know, obviously the sounds of the guns and the swords and the creatures are all very well done. No complaints there with any of that. The sounds of the gathering is fine. All of it's good, but where this game just shines is the soundtrack. I mean, oh my god, this game just immerses you and you feel the sense of adventure when you're going up this beanstalk. And as you get into the higher levels of, you know, the beanstalk, you've eclipsed, you know, the 4 platforms, you're on the 5th platform, and you can just look down and see all the progress you've made, how far up you've climbed, and how the challenges get harder and harder. And the music is just so satisfying when you're doing it. You get the sense of immersion, the sense of adventure. The game is fantastic when it comes to that. The sound design is some of the best I've heard in a game yet, and I have to give it to the soundtrack on that one. The soundtrack is what makes it. And on top of that, you're talking about the night sounds. Whenever nighttime approaches, it gives you this eerie feeling like, oh, well, what's happening different at night? It feels like you're almost playing a horror game all of a sudden, but there's still that sense of adventure where you're out on the limbs of a beanstalk and there's spiders stalking you down as you climb through with your picks on this, as you're trying to gather these resources, and next thing you know, there's bees swarming you or whatnot, and it's really well done. The sound in this game is one of the most impressive things, and I think that, you know, why this game is really pleasantly surprised me has a lot to do with the soundtrack, because I found myself thinking about this game outside of playing the game, where I was like, oh man, it'd be kind of fun to, you know, play right now. You know, it's one of those things where you're like, wow, I'm, you know, sometimes games don't really necessarily do that for me. I'm a one and done, or I play it and I'm like, hey, that was a good game, but, you know, I'm not really thinking about it, playing it again outside of that. And this game didn't do that for me. I kind of thought about playing it a lot, and it has a lot to do with the soundtrack. You feel like you're on an adventure in this game when you're playing it, and I think that it captures a unique feeling for sure. So when it comes to our overall graphics here, this is an area where, if you're just looking on screen, obviously you can tell, I think it's beautiful and colorful. The graphics certainly aren't anything to marvel at. They're definitely not going to be next gen. They're fine. It's a VR game. You don't feel like you've lost immersion by any stretch of the imagination. But it you know, it has a unique kind of fantasy setting to it. So I think that the colors and stuff do a good job here in this game. There's really no like shadows or anything, you know, crazy. There's no massive amounts of detail when it comes to graphics. It's pretty bare bones, but it's done well enough where there's really no complaints, and I think that's the most important thing. I think the item details are really good. Like when you're actually looking at the items you're holding in your hands, I think they're pretty solid. Can't complain there. I really wish that the wrists and stuff in the hands were a little bit differently placed. For sure, like when you're holding a sword is one example. The sword is kind of a little bit off orientation, so like if you're twisting your wrist downward, it's a little bit more vertical than it should be. So, and I wouldn't even necessarily say that's like maybe a graphics thing, is more so a game mechanics thing. But the graphics in this game, I don't think are stellar by any stretch of imagination, but they do get the job done, and it doesn't break immersion, and it doesn't take away from the experience at all. So when it comes to my verdict on Bean Stalker, this is an interesting game. I want to tell you to go ahead and buy it, because it is a great title. I really enjoy playing through it. I think $30 is definitely steep for a VR game, no doubt. There is definitely enough content here to kind of justify that price tag, but I do feel that For $30, there's some other games that you could, maybe get that maybe more of your playstyle. Now, if you're somebody who loves RPGs and loves a sense of adventure, this game's going to really give that to you. And I think that if you're that kind of person, you definitely should buy this game. I was pleasantly surprised, and it's probably a game that I would honestly, and I'm that type of player, I would buy this game if I didn't already own it, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, if you're somebody who's not a huge fan of RPGs, you're just like, oh, well, that looks like an interesting game, I'm not sure if I would like it, maybe hold off on it, watch some more content on it. I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you do buy this game. I mean, for $30, yeah, you are spending $30 on a VR game, but there is well over 10 hours of content and more are going to be added to the game. So you're going to get a fair amount of content. It does feel very satisfying. The adventure feels really good. There's not really any bugs that I encountered in this game, really at all. I mean, I think I crashed maybe one time, and I think it was actually my fault that I crashed because my Oculus headset came untethered a little bit. So not too many bugs. The loading screens, the loading screens are a little long. It's the one caveat I will say. I'm not thrilled with how long it takes to load in and out of the game world, but it's there, and it is what it is. But overall, I have to say, I do really like this game. It's one of those games. I think that if this game was priced maybe at $24.99 or even $21.99, I think it'd be a for sure steal as a buy. It is a little pricey, but again, I do understand why the developer made it is the price that they did, because there is a lot of content in this game, and it definitely took some time to fledge out this game the way it is. And it's definitely a really good game. Love the crafting in it. Lots of good things going in this game, and there's lots of end game crafting too, like stuff that I haven't even been able to get to yet because I just haven't had the time to gather the right resources and get high enough up in the beanstalk. So I do really like this game. I think it's a really good one, and for the sense of adventure, you're not going to be disappointed if you're an adventure type of game. This game gives you a really good sense of, presence and a really good sense of progression in it. I really do like it, and it is good. So it's hard to give you a straight verdict because I think there's some people that definitely will not take to a game like this, and there's some people that could spend hours and hours in a game like this. So I guess know what kind of player you are, but this is a really good game, and if you do purchase it, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with your purchase. Well, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. Let me know what you think of Bean Stalker in the comment section below. Like I said, I do think this is a really good game. A little steep, but overall, you're not going to be disappointed by playing this one. It is a lot of fun. So let me know in the comment section below, and also drop a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.